Economic researchers live on data. It's what we digest, it's what we analyse, it's what we interpret, and that's where our findings come from. But there's some important details about how data are constructed that researchers need to take greater note of. In particular, when the federal government surveys people and they construct these large data sets we feed into our computers, they're worried that a researcher might be able to identify a friend, a neighbour, or potentially a competing business. So they need to make it impossible for you to find any individual in the data. What they do is they end up swapping out some of our attributes. So for instance, if you went looking for a 42-year-old economist who lives in Washington, D.C. with 2 children, you might discover that instead what they've done is they've moved me to Maryland. Now, fair enough, that's not going to affect the number of 42-year-olds in the United States. It's not going to affect the number of dads with 2 kids. But it is going to affect your study if you're trying to look at what's happening in D.C. rather than what's happening in Maryland. And there are a whole lot of these techniques that are being used. And so the primary point of this paper is to describe how these techniques are used to make it impossible to find anyone in a data set, and then how those techniques might actually bias or undermine the results of empirical studies that use these data. It's tremendously important stuff, and I hope that empirical researchers really take note of it.